Hello and welcome to interest.co.nz. I'm Gareth Vaughan with another of our double shot interviews, and I'm joined by Diana Clement, freelance journalist who is best known, certainly among our audience, for her fabulous investigations into insurer Youi that we ran this year. Welcome, Diana. Thanks for coming in. So yesterday, Youi was fined $320,000 in the Auckland District Court for pleading guilty to 15 breaches of the Fair Trading Act after charges were brought by the Commerce Commission. Now, obviously, a lot of these charges stemmed from your work. Youi was also fined $100,000 by the Insurance Council for breaching its code of conduct. Just wondering now, all up, fines of $420,000 for this conduct that you painstakingly detailed. Do you think justice has been done now?
I think justice has been done, Gareth, in terms of that they have pleaded guilty and they have been convicted and they have been fined. I might have liked a larger fine. I also felt that the area about the fine that concerned me was that it was discounted by the court by $100,000 because of the Insurance Council fine. Now, the issue there for me is that the Insurance Council fine was due to Youi bringing the industry into disrepute, and the court was looking at the damage to consumers, and therefore I cannot understand why that fine was discounted by $100,000. But apart from that, it's good that this case has come to a conclusion and that they have been convicted for this scandal.
So Youi's been fined $320,000 in relation to the Commerce Commission charges. The sum, my understanding is, could have been as high as maximum possibly of up to $9 million. As you mentioned, it does seem a little light, that fine, for what the conduct that's gone on here. So do you think the Commerce Commission, whose lawyers did agree to the $320,000 sum with Youi's lawyers, do you think they have done their best on behalf of Youi's customers?
Obviously, I would have liked to have seen a higher fine. However, I do believe that the Commerce Commission worked with Youi's lawyers in order to get a guilty plea rather than going through the courts and spending a lot more of our taxpayers' money on a trial. So, yes, I'd like to see a higher fine, but the reality is that we have a conviction, and that is great news for consumers out there, particularly vulnerable consumers.
Now, you, as mentioned, you painstakingly detailed a lot of things that happened to Youi customers here. What, in your view, is the worst thing that Youi did?
When I look back, it's the elderly people and the vulnerable people, those with anxiety, that type of thing, who were scammed out of their money. And in many cases, they had enormous difficulty getting that money back. And I know of at least one elderly man who couldn't get his money back. A year later, another $1,000 was debited from his account. And it was only when his daughter-in-law found out and stood up for him that he got that money back.
Now, Youi said that in court yesterday that just 0.2% of their customers were affected in the period of about a year and a half when the Commerce Commission was investigating. Does that fit with what you've seen?
No, I mean, that's a meaningless figure. It's a meaningless statement, because unless they have gone through and reviewed every single sales call looking for those 7 different types of mis-selling, then that figure is not true. And I am sure they have not been back through those calls. They don't want to see what they would find.
Now, Youi says it's cleaned up its act and there haven't been any instances where it's charged people for policies they thought they were merely getting quotes for since April. Have you seen this improvement? I mean, has the leopard changed its spots?
If you look online at social media, you see that people are every couple of days somebody is complaining about some of those issues that related to mis-selling. For example, 2 days ago, one day before the court case, on Youi's own website, there was a complaint from somebody who couldn't cancel via email. One day before this case.
So in your articles, you raised some concerns around Youi's insurance policies as well. Have they cleaned these issues up now?
No, the reality is they talk about tailor-made insurance. And tailor-made insurance is simply shorthand for selling substandard insurance policies. The basic house and contents policies do not include accidental damage, and the contents policy doesn't include away from home, and the household policy is based on what's called specified risks or specified perils. That means that you are not covered for all risks, you are not covered for everything that could happen to you. New Zealand insurers such as Vero and NZI and AA all cover all risks as standard in their policies. They have been covering that standard since the 1980s, yet the Youi policy doesn't cover those standard basics that New Zealanders expect in their insurance, but they don't tell the customers when they're selling the policy. So you have a customer who is comparing the prices of a Youi policy and, say, an AA insurance policy, but of course they're not comparing like for like. They're comparing a substandard policy with the type of policy that you would expect as standard in New Zealand.
Now, this all began in terms of your investigation because you were actually a victim yourself. You've obviously been writing about this area, personal finance, insurance area for a long time. Have you ever seen any behaviour on this scale before by a New Zealand financial services provider? And I mean, do you think there's more of this sort of conduct out there?
I've been a journalist for 30 years. I've written about personal finance for 20. And I can honestly say I have never seen a company that behaves like this, ever. Is there more out there? No, I do genuinely think that for large companies that Youi is a one-off. I don't believe the other insurers behave dishonourably at all. Or I shouldn't say at all, but dishonourably as a matter of course, whereas that was what was coming out of Youi's sales team.
Okay, well, look, thanks a lot for that, Diana. That's Diana Clement, freelance journalist and the author of a major investigation into insurer Youi this year, which has led to conviction by the Commerce Commission. And I'm Gareth Vaughan at interest.co.nz.